Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon or good evening depending on when you're watching this, and welcome back to the GrianaigCreations podcast channel. My name is Kirsty, my pronouns are they, them, and I am coming to you from slightly sunny Paisley in Scotland, which is just a stone's throw away from Glasgow. The sun has decided to grace us with its presence for probably the first time today, and man do I look shiny. But yeah, this is a knitting, crochet, spinning, sewing, kinda wannabe weaver, lace maker, all round crafter podcast. But today's video is all going to be about crochet. I should have recorded this about a week, maybe 2 weeks ago, but to be perfectly honest, my crafting motivation decided to bugger off completely and has really only just started to return in little dribs and drabs. And whenever my crafting mojo disappears, I don't push it, I don't force myself to do anything. I just kind of accept that and not move on, but I don't fight it basically. I don't make myself work on something if I'm just not feeling it. Excuse me. But the other, probably actually like Thursday or Friday night, just there, I really started to kind of get my crafting mojo back, and I feel like I've actually done loads just in the last couple of days. But the first object I want to show off is something that's been finished for about 2 weeks now. So this is something that may have been the catalyst for losing my mojo, but that is the spoke flower blanket, and this is by the Crochet Fix. Now I have still got ends to weave in, but it has been pinned out. I'm not going to go as far as saying I blocked this, because I certainly didn't. Like, there was no steam blocking, there was no wet blocking. I just wanted to pin it out and just let the yarn do what it needed to do, because I felt like on these center columns, on these center columns, I felt like it was very kind of bunched up a couple of times, and I didn't like the look of it. I definitely didn't want to gift it like that. So I pinned it out. I didn't aggressively stretch it out, but I definitely kind of like smoothed out that bunching, and it definitely seems to have done the trick. But today I'm going to be weaving in my ends, and I'm hoping to gift it to the person this Thursday. So I'm recording this on Monday. I will hope to see the person on Thursday, and the reason I'm saying hope is because you never know with babies. Sometimes they come early, sometimes they don't. And then also, she might not feel up to it. She's really close to her due date now, so she just might not want to come to the craft group. But if you saw my last crochet episode, you'll have seen I hit a bit of a conundrum when it came to joining the next ball of yarn, which was around about here. If not exactly there, because I have a join literally right behind that stitch marker. But what was happening was I had these big 150 gram cakes of yarn, and when I finished the first ball, the two ends for the new ball were nowhere near the colour I was ending on. And so I didn't really know what to do. I didn't know whether to just join the yarn and go and just make do with the fact the colour was going to be so drastically different, or do I pull out at least half the yarn, ball it up, set it aside, and then start from where the colour matches, knowing it's not going to be going in the same order. So what I mean by that is, if we look from the centre out, it goes dark blue, light blue, white, kind of like this sagey green, teal, blue, light blue. And so it should have gone from the light blue into white and then the sage green, but instead, because of where I had to pull the yarn from, it's actually now doing the reverse, like if we were going that way instead of that way. Or sorry, that way. So we're going this way instead of that way. And so I've got the blue, which is here, the dark blue, which is here, the teal here, sage green here, and then the white, and then the light blue. I think it looks fine. Honestly, it's like you would just assume that's what the yarn decided to do. It was going to go in one gradient and then it was just going to work its way back. So it does look fine. I like the look of it. I'm sure the recipient's going to appreciate it regardless. And if they don't, they can donate it. As long as they don't say to my face they don't like it. I don't think she would. She seems too nice for that. But I'm really, really happy with that. That was 300 grams of yarn out of my stash, albeit I specifically bought it to make the baby blanket. But it kinda doesn't count. But I'm still tracking the yarn that goes out. So 300 grams out of my house. Yay. See, when you do a podcast single-handedly, you can get really winded. I have no excuse. Like, I'm sitting still. It's not like I'm running a marathon. So that's my only finished object for this video. I have progress on 3 outstanding works in progress. And then I've got 1 brand new cast on. It's the exact same pattern, the spoke flower blanket that I just showed you. It's just because I have 2 other people that are pregnant that are due in April, and the sooner I get those done, the better. But at the same point, I could probably gift them the end of April, start of May. But I'll show you the new spoke flower blanket, because then I can show you the ball band for both of the projects, because it's the same yarn I'm using, just different colorways. So this is Yarn Smith's Elvis, which is a double knit yarn, 150 gram ball, which is 540 meters, and it is 100% acrylic. So I've got 2 of this color as well, which is shade 1A002, dye lot 11, although if you buy it, dye lot could be different. And it's just this really funky, bright rainbow. So the recipient of this one is quite a free spirit, and like that's how I would class her, and I've never met her. And she didn't want any specific colours, like how people think pink is for girls, blue is for boys. And when I got that kind of freedom to pick, I went with like nice bright colours and nice happy colours. So this is the start of it, and I think it's lovely. So I'm going from the centre out, like the centre of the ball out. And for this rendition of the spoke flower blanket, I'm going with the more rounded petal. So if we look at this one, it's quite a pointy petal, whereas the one I'm doing is going to be more rounded. And it just keeps things a bit different instead of making the same thing time after time. Because I still have like another blanket to do after this one. So it keeps it a bit different, it keeps me entertained and engaged a little bit as well, wanting to work on it. The colours are mostly making me want to work on this one. Like, if it didn't already have a recipient in mind, I would probably want to keep this. But yeah, it's really, really lovely. It's just such bright, happy colours. And this is for the lady that I crocheted the NHS nurse doll for, and she absolutely adored that. She is very craft worthy in my opinion. She's just such a kind soul. And their little one is due in April. So that's going to be getting worked on at some point. Right, now we're on to 3 projects that are fairly long-term whips. There's one that is much, much shorter. So we'll show that one first. And I have recently containerized, I don't even know if that's a word. I've decided to put a lot of my projects that are stored in this room, which is our living room, into containers so that they look a bit neater. They're more easily like accessed for me. And depending on the project, it's like 1 project per container, or if it's smaller projects, there could be like up to like 4 or 5 projects in a container. So this is the that'd be a pair of scissors. This is the gingerbread blanket cow, which Sandra were running. It's now past, it finished, but it went on somewhat of a hiatus for me once Christmas had passed. But I'd also got to a point in the project where I was kind of like, I don't like how this looks, therefore I don't want to work on it. And I also got to a different point where I was just like, yeah, I don't know how to do what it's asking me to do. So my friend Maddie of, I should have checked how I say this because she's on YouTube. You should check her out. Overall. Channels. Oh no, sorry, it's the House of Langford. I'm thinking of her Instagram handle. So yeah, check out the House of Langford. And Maddie kindly came round to my flat because she doesn't live too far away from me and helped me with the peppermint swirls for week. Oh, I don't know what week that is. I didn't print out all the pages. Oh no, there it says it right there in front of me. Week 3, which is the candy canes and peppermint swirls. I started the candy canes. I didn't like it when I started working on the reverse, and so I ripped it out, and then Maddie came over and helped me with the peppermint swirls. She was an awesome crochet teacher, and now I just have to kind of like finish those. I assume that is the next week's. I don't know. No, next week's is the Christmas lights and baubles. I don't know. I just know there's a border on these to make it a square. But I would like to kind of set more time aside to work on this, but it is also not a huge priority. The priority at the moment is like the baby crochet. To be fair, there's going to be knits involved as well. I want to make 2 newborn vertebrae, but that's a different video. But the priority is the baby crochet stuff, like the blankets. But at the same point, if I don't want to work on them, then I'll work on something else. But I really enjoyed working on these, and I, for the first time, used bobbins. So if you think of like intarsia knitting, the same bobbins you would use for intarsia. I'd done that so that I only carried the white yarn across the back. I didn't carry the red, and it looks so good on the front because you just can't see. Whereas when I worked on the stripes, when I worked on the reverse, you could see the yarns on like through the front, and it didn't look good. It really didn't look good. You could see the white through the red and the red through the white, and it wasn't doing the trick. So I need to pick these up next and do the diagonal striping on these, and then I reckon that will be week 3 finished. But I just need to read through the instructions to see if week 3 also includes making this into a square. I didn't actually read the instructions. I just said I just done what Maddie told me to do. So yeah, those are done. And it was really nice to pull this out and work on it again. But like I say, it's not my instant priority. So that will just get picked up as and when I can. Something that really got my crafting mojo back. I tried to work on a knitted sock, but my circular needles are so small they were hurting my hands. And then I was just like, what do I have that's small, easy to do, doesn't require a pattern, doesn't require a lot of concentration? And then I remembered I had this bag of little sheepies, these Katona cotton 20 grams 10 grams 10 gram minis. I have a bunch of them, like a huge bunch of them, and I started this project last year when Scott and I were going down to Manchester. If I've ever said Liverpool in the past, apologies. It's because the first wrestling thing we went away for was in Liverpool. This one was in Manchester. And so this is one of the old ones. This is one of the ones I worked on last year. So I always put the little tag back on them. Not for any particular reason. But I'm making the Battenberg squares. And just chipping away as and when the notion takes. And the notion took. I decided on Friday night, maybe Saturday night, that I wanted to pull them out and make a couple, and I made 6, and they were just nice to have on the go, not really think about, because once you've got the pattern down, like, you're good to go. And yeah, before I knew it, I had 6 done. I was kind of aiming for 10, and then I was just like, no, I really want to work on a blanket now. I flitted between so many projects this weekend because my mojo was back, and it was just like, let's work on this, let's work on this, let's work on this, and then this, and then that, and then this. So I think 6 is really good for a project that hasn't been touched since March, I want to say, of last year. And so I've got... This bag is really holding all the finished ones. It's also holding some balls of yarn. So I've got a good couple in there that are now finished. And I can add these 2 back into the bag now, so I don't get them confused. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 7 balls in the bag. So these will be the next 7 I work on. But like, I'm not kidding when I say I've got a lot of these. So I have smooshed these in here, and they're double on each. Like, that's a lot of balls of mini yarn, like mini crochet. But aren't they really pretty? They're just so colourful and lovely. Actually, I'm going to keep that as a screenshot for the... I wonder if that worked. But yeah, so roughly how many do we think we have? 1, 2, 3, 9, 4, 8. 9 times 8 And then maybe add like another 8 on top of that. And then I've got the 7 that are in the bag. So like that's going to be a good amount of squares. And then I've got all the finished ones that were already in there, never mind the 6 I done this weekend. Like, I've been thinking about it as I was working on it. I think I'm going to have to make 2 blankets. Like, once I've made all the squares, I think I'm going to have too many. And I'll need to make 2 smaller blankets. That would not be the worst thing in the world. Just saying. Okay, so last project. I was working away on those squares and I had pulled this out a day or 2 prior because I was just like, I would like to be wrapped up warm working on a blanket. And I know I'm really, really close to having this blanket done. And that is my crochet ripple blanket. Now, this is folded over and then folded again. But, let's see. Unfold that. And unfold that again. So this is it folded in half widthwise now. Yeah, half widthwise. So that was the start. And then this is going to be the last bit. So I'm not done yet. I still have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 18 rows more to do. But what I need to do now is a row like this and then a repeat of the white to the white in these colours. But it will go like the pink and the grey will be the reverse. So I'm going to do the red. So see this red here. This will be my like thicker section because you can see like the repeat. If we go from the cream to the cream, that is what I'm classing as like a repeat. And then this is like a breaker, like a break in between, and then I'm going to do a repeat. So I'm going to do 4 rows of red, and then it will be the white, then the grey, then the pink, then the white, then the pink, then the grey, then the white. And then it's done. That's a lot. Like that I probably overcomplicated that, but I deserve a medal for overcomplicating things. But this blanket did not make me nearly as warm as it should have done this weekend. I think it didn't help that my pyjamas were particularly summer pyjamas and not winter pyjamas. And so I was cold. Like, I was bone cold. And this blanket did not help, which was highly disappointing. But 18 rows, not bad. I want to work on that today, but I promised myself I would start working on my cross stitch. But you know what? Sack that. I want to work on the blanket, so I'm going to work on the blanket. So hopefully out of those 18 rows, I'll get 6 done today. I've forgotten. I had timed myself to see how long it took to do a row. And then I could work out the math as to how many days I would need to put into it. Because I want that blanket done. I am setting myself a challenge this year to have certain projects worked on and completed within the next 12 months. And it's part of the Giddy Yarns Bingo Challenge. So if you've not heard of that, head over to the Giddy Yarns podcast. Helen is wonderful. And they are doing a bingo challenge. So I've got my own kind of like bingo card. I've got certain projects on it. And one of them is this crochet blanket. But I am doing my own challenge this year where if I get so many of my blankets done, I can start my next mosaic crochet pattern, which is a blanket. So this crochet project has to be done. The gingerbread crochet project has to be done. And then I'm not going to add this one in. This is going to be a long-term project. I'm not going to add in my knitted cozy memories one, because that's also long-term and currently on the back burner. Like, I have so many blanket projects, but my mind has just gone blank as to what ones I have. So we've got the cozy memories, which is knitted, the Battenberg with this one, that's 2. I've then got the Ripple gingerbread baby blanket, but I just finished a baby blanket, so I have to keep, I'm going to keep that as 5. I've got my knitted circular blanket, that's 6. I need to kind of look at my projects a minute. And then I've got what would have been Smaug the African Flower Dragon that I've now decided I'm not doing. And so that makes 7. So Ripple blanket needs to be done. Gingerbread needs to be done. The Smaug blanket needs to be done. So that's 3 out of 7. The circular blanket is going to be cast off because I don't want to continue it. So that'll be 4. And then I'll be finishing the spoke flower, but then I'll be casting on another one. So let's keep it at 4. 4 out of 7. Pretty darn good. But I've got a feeling I'm missing something. So I'm going to pause and I'm going to go grab my notepad, which has all my projects in it. So give me a second. Have you ever heard... Sorry, there's so many magpies outside in that tree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 magpies. They've got a tree at the end of our road, and unfortunately it fell down. And so they seem to have congregated in a new tree. Anyway, have you ever looked back at your notes and just been like, what on earth is that? I've written here crochet carousel blanket. I don't know what that is. I need to watch back my video, like my whip shame video. Anyway, so according to this, I have a 10 stitch blanket, crochet carousel blanket, cozy memories blanket, so we're at 3, Battenberg blanket, 4, Smaug dragon squares blanket, 5, Advent blanket, 6, gingerbread, 7, Ripple, 8, knit blanket, like circular knit blanket, spoke flower, yarn eater blanket technically would be an 11, but I frogged that. And so I have 10 blankets, apparently, on the go. Not 7. The 10 stitch blanket, that's a knitting one. I'm on the fence as to whether I'm going to keep going. I don't know what the hell the crochet carousel blanket is. Cozy memories one, that's that one. That's on the back burner. Battenberg blanket's the one I have been chipping away at, but that's going to be slow progress. So I'm not counting that one. So that leaves the Smaug blanket. I technically am very close to getting the Advent blanket done. That was a knitting one, so it doesn't really count in this video, but we're going to count it in this challenge. Gingerbread blanket, Ripple blanket, circular knit blanket, and the spoke flower blanket. I don't think I'm going to count purely because I need to get that one finished and then I have to cast on another one. So 5 out of 10 blankets. once I get those 5 done, I get to start my next blanket project, and it's mosaic crochet. So we'll see. You'll see which one it is if I beat this challenge. So this is a self-imposed challenge, and I don't normally do self-imposed challenges, but apparently I'm starting to like the idea of having goals and having things I can achieve and tick off my little list, because damn does that feel good when you tick stuff off your lists. And also, like, this is so close to being done. If I have to set that challenge and find out roughly how many hours I need to put into this so that it kicks my butt into gear, then I'm gonna do it. Because it really helped last time when I thought it would get to the length I wanted to be like, okay, I need to put like 30 hours into this. And then that was like a weekend. Like, I just put in a couple hours, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We were done, like, good. So I need to retime how long it takes me to do a row, and then I times that by 18, and then I'll see. Well, really, I'd only have to times it by 17 because I'd have put a row in. And then see roughly how many hours it will take, and then this one will be done, and then I need to pick my next blanket, and I'll progress with that one. Probably gingerbread. We'll see. No, spoke flower. Spoke flower is the next one. And I know I didn't count that in my challenge. I probably should have, because it needs done. Oh, I keep changing my own rules. But anyway, I have done a random comment picker from my, what episode was it? View channel. It was from the 9-year podiversary video, which was apparently, according to YouTube, a month ago. I think it was actually longer than that. And I picked 3 winners because we were going to do that. One was going to win 4 skeins of yarn, and that lucky winner is Jennifer Natters 3263. I'm going to show the winner. And Jennifer commented, because I asked the question about what to do with joining the new yarn and the spoke flower blanket. I vote for you either 1, switch colours and go with it. I tried that, I didn't like it. Or 2, pull out the colour, match, start from the outside of the ball working in, so you end with the sage green, which you can then add the sage green and pull that you pulled off the thicker stripe, which will work because it will have to go further, and then end with the white edging. I've done that. But the reason I asked people to comment was, what was your crafting goal for 2025? And Jennifer's crafting goal is, my crafting goal for 2025 is to use my deep stash. Not all of it or anything extreme like that, but there's a lot of stuff at the bottom of that stash, figuratively and literally, in accessories quantities that can become gift knits or charity knits or straight up destashed. I think that's a perfect goal for this year, and I am doing somewhat similar. I don't think mine is accessories quantities, but I definitely want to use up a lot of stash this year. One of my goals on my bingo challenge this year is to use up 1 kilogram of yarn, which, let's face it, is only 10 balls of 100-gram yarn. That's easy done. Like, in one of my knitting projects recently, I used up 6 and a bit balls of yarn. So I'm only going to call that 6, but it was 50 grams. So that's 300 grams of yarn right there. All gone. Bye-bye. So, well done, Jennifer. You win the 4 skeins of yarn. If you could please get in touch on my Instagram page. I think that would be the best way to do it, because I don't have an email address set up for the podcast. But if you're on Bluesky, I'm on Bluesky, you can find me there. but definitely find me on Instagram if you can. The links for my socials are in the description box. And then we've got 2 lucky winners that will win a pattern of their choosing up to £8 and the first winner of that is Kitty Scraper, which is Nancy. Check out their podcast on here as well. And Nancy's answer for her goal was, my main aim is to use my stash yarn as I am a bit overwhelmed. I even have some of your yarn squirreled away for the perfect project. Aw, thanks Nancy. But yeah, I think a lot of us are starting to feel the pressure of our stashes, and so I also 100% agree with that. And as I've just mentioned, my goal for my stash this year. And then the next person to win a pattern is Orietta Stitch. And Orietta is also a podcaster. I'm sure Orietta podcasts. And Orietta's is my knitting goal for 2025. Oh, I loved this one. This was brilliant. My knitting goal for 2025 is to just work on what I love and what makes me happy. If I learn something new in the process, great. If I work on a bunch of stockinette stuff, probably is what suits me best at the moment. As a fellow carrier of chronic illness, I try to leave my hobbies as stress-free as I can. 100% agree. So congratulations to all our winners. If you could all find me on Instagram and let me know. So if Jennifer could let me know your address, and Nancy and Orietta, if you could please let me know what pattern you would like, that would be great. The pattern does need to be on Ravelry because I don't know how to gift on other platforms. If you do know, please let me know. But it would be preferable for it to be on Ravelry. And I will get the yarn out to Jennifer as soon as I can after I get your address. But yeah, I'm going to stop now. I think I'm at like 40 minutes. And I just feel quite breathless. I'm working on getting my fitness level back up. I have decided to really give my body the love it needs, and that is to become less sedentary. I lead a very sedentary life. I sit at a job, I sit at a desk 8 hours a day, 9 if I'm ever doing overtime, and I don't get up very much. And then I really take to heart that whole, if I'm sitting I'm knitting or crocheting. And so Scott and I recently got a walking pad. That's it there. And I went on that last night and I walked for just over an hour and I done 2 miles, which I personally think is really, really good. Let's see, I feel very squint now. But yeah, I done 2 miles yesterday or last night and I felt really, really good for it. And I hope to kind of keep that up. Maybe not 2 miles every day, but just a decent amount. And yeah, I'm just treating my body a bit better, a bit nicer, a wee bit more with love, instead of being mean to myself and beating myself up and eating all the bad food instead of all the nice food. Yeah, I'm gonna go hang up some laundry. The washing machine sounds like it stopped. And then I'm going to time myself for a row on the blanket. I want to work on my cross stitch. I do. But I'm so close to getting this ripple blanket finished, albeit there's so many ends. So many ends. But yeah. I've got ends to weave in on the spoke flower blanket. I have so many things I could do, but let's start small. I'll do the ends on the blanket first, then I'll move on to crocheting. But yeah, let me know what you're up to this week. How's your crafting going? What do you do when you lose your crafting mojo? Because apparently I done nothing, which actually felt kind of nice, to be honest. Normally I try and like push through and just still make something, even if I didn't want to make it or didn't have the need or urge to make it. But this time I really listened to my body and was just like, nope, body doesn't want to do anything, so I'm not going to do anything. But yeah, what you gonna do? Anyway, I never know how to sign these off, so I'm just gonna go. Thank you so much for watching and giving me a moment of your time. Your day could probably be very busy for all I know, and you've chosen it to spend it with me, so thank you so much. I hope I have kept you busy, either whilst you're having a cup of tea or coffee and chilling, or if you're working. I know I watch a lot of podcasts while I work, or while you're doing something you don't want to do, like laundry or chores or housework, if you don't want to call it chores. Probably best I don't call it chores. But yeah, until the next video, thank you so much for watching. Please do stay safe, and I will talk to you next time. Bye everyone.